Hi, and I'm here with my usual co-host, the one and only. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty good. It's kind of weird watching a movie in the middle of the day
Yeah.
because, for one, the aesthetic is totally off. You usually want to see these things at night when you're at your most scared. But honestly, it's not too bad of an experience. It's like, kind of like going to a matinee in the middle of the day, and it's all dark and you're scaring the hell out of yourself. And when you come out, bright sunshine, you're just like, oh, that wasn't real. I'm safe.
I've been telling you, matinees are the best.
Yeah, maybe for scary movies only, but like if it's ever like an action movie, romance comedy, I think nighttime's the best time to go.
All right. Two people are missing today, but that's all good. Lives need to be taken care of. But yeah, she'll be missing them. But I think
That's
Jack is
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack is sending his thoughts on Evil Dead 1 and 2, so that's good. He'll have some type of presence in this podcast.
Pedro,
Yeah.
Pedro said he wanted me to call during the middle of the podcast just so he could say hi. So take care of that in a bit.
All right. Yes. How you doing today, man?
Dude, like honestly, I just been working my butt off at my internship. I'm working on videos and articles like crazy. I post all the time, and at the same time, I'm still looking for like opportunities like in work and stuff. I just heard back from someone from SNY, so hopefully that goes somewhere. Uh,
Okay.
Overall, I'm pretty good. I'm excited. Halloween's coming up next week. I don't know what I'm gonna do for it. I'll probably just have like a couple people over and we'll just hang out and probably watch a scary movie or something. But um, you know, it feels weird that it's COVID time and Halloween being one of the more exciting holidays to come during this time of the year, and none of us are able to celebrate it properly, and that makes me really sad.
I mean, if you got some right people, you got some, yeah.
I mean, do you remember when we were in college and we used to like just go to like these house parties all dressed up in costume and stuff?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Do you ever miss those days, or do you prefer just kind of like the quiet days, the quiet nights at home with trick or treaters coming by?
Both have their perks. I mean, it was nice being young and being like, yeah, I'm just gonna pull up here. But nowadays it's like, yeah, I'm not that young anymore, so it's like.
26, man. Also, dude, I want to ask. So, like, in your opinion, what was the most creative costume you ever made for Halloween?
Um, I don't know. I usually just buy my costumes. I mean, one time I was kind of basic, and I just got a lab coat, a blue T-shirt, and a wig, and I was Rick for Rick and Morty, and I called it a day. You were there for that, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. No,
Yeah,
it was a pretty good costume, and you
yeah,
fit the aesthetic, especially because Rick's so tall.
yeah.
So that works perfectly in your favor. For me, like my mom helped me make a costume. I was a half man, half robot when I was a kid, and we basically just got like a bunch of cardboard. We glued it onto a half black, half white leotard, and we painted it to look all robotic and techie and stuff, and then painted half my face silver, and it was awesome.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I'm excited. Especially with all these 13 Nights of Halloween videos coming out. So Juan, there's been two so far for 13 Nights of Halloween. What did you think of them so far of them?
So I've never heard of House before.
Yeah.
That was an interesting one. I never thought like there was a movie like that out there that was like about a house killing people and stuff. That was really interesting. But
Yeah, but it's also really like campy. There's some unintentional and intentional humor. So that's a movie you'd probably be comfortable watching.
I mean, 80s movies, 80s scare flicks are usually kind of those campy kinds. They have like unintended moments of comedy while still trying to present themselves as scary. But that might be just a reflection of the modern times that we live in, where we can look back at what people thought was scary back then through a lens of, oh wow, that's funny now.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the second one, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like that one is like one of those classic horror movies that you want to see and you want to take the time to like really look and appreciate it, but you never really find the time to do it. I'm glad you found the time to do it because honestly, it
Yeah,
looks
I gotta say, watching 13, telling myself to watch 13 movies in the span of like a month, it was kind of tough.
Like, so far, like with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like, it's a 50s movie, 50s, 60s movie. How did you put yourself through it?
It's well, and when I was a kid, I watched like Twilight Zone, so I can handle stuff like that weird retro sci-fi of that time. So like, yeah, it was just like, it felt like I was watching an hour and a half episode of Twilight Zone, pretty much.
Which one was your favorite out of the two so far?
I like Invasion the best. House is good though. House is definitely a fun watch. Yeah.
I can't wait to see when you come out with like a tier system of all the movies you saw.
Yeah, I used the jack-o'-lanterns.
No, not picking them. I like ranking them. I mean.
Oh yeah, I should probably do that. Yeah. Yeah.
And speaking of campy, we just finished watching the second act of Evil Dead 2.
Yes, we did. We started with the first one last week, and we got to the second one this week. And Juan, so what did you think of Evil Dead 2?
Honestly, a lot better than the first one, I have to admit. But I did have, my qualms with it, like I do with any other movie. And this time I took notes, sir. I took notes. For one, they retconned the whole first movie to fit the second movie, where instead of it was just one guy, instead of a group, it was just two people. I don't understand the move there, but Sam Raimi's choices are Sam Raimi's choices,
Yeah.
And overall, like it was a really good movie. I loved like the flow of the story. It didn't get too silly for itself. There were moments where I felt like it was on the border of being okay, this is just freaking ridiculous. But it didn't cross that line until maybe near the end of the movie.
Yes.
But we'll touch on that in a bit. I want to say like that that the chase sequence from when he was trying to leave the camp, the cabin.
Yeah.
It got so dark so quickly. Like it was the middle of the day when he went to go cross the road, which by the way that the road was folded into like a closed hand was really well done. I'm like, Raimi, I see what you did there, you son of a gun. But what I was surprised is it went dark, like legit nighttime in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's temporal displacement, from like day to nighttime, but give it a little more sense of realism. Like the sun barely set like that. He was still being chased by the time the moon came up, which I thought was like, dude, really? Are you really trying to rush this scene? Like, whatever. I finally got to see the chainsaw scene where like where he cut his hand, and I was just so confused into like
groovy.
Groovy, yeah,
groovy.
Like, why was all the evil just concentrated in his hand? Why wasn't he being taken over like everyone else was being taken over?
I guess he was fighting it, because Ash is like the chosen one.
I guess, but it's just like, everyone else got possessed like that. If Ash is the chosen one or whatever, that makes sense. But like, you just kind of wonder, like, what makes this guy think, like, what makes him stronger than everyone else? I just felt like it was stupid. Like they just made him concentrate in the one hand, although it did lead to the plot point where he lost his hand. So that was pretty cool. The silhouette for when he, was cutting his girlfriend's head in half with a chainsaw.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I know, man, but I would have preferred to see it happen instead of the silhouette. I guess like the budget kind of ran dry when it came to effects, but like, I wouldn't mind seeing that scene happen with all the gore and the goo and stuff. And also when that headless dead zombie came in with the chains on the first place, was just what the hell? Like, like he's about to do it. He's about to cut it. There's no chainsaw. I'm like, oh wait, where'd the chainsaw go? And I'm like, did it go away with the first movie or something? And then this freaking zombie just comes up and just goes, yeah. And it was like, I'm starting to appreciate monster movies now. Like I really appreciate the complexity and the effort it takes to make this look so real. Like the claymation of the dancing corpse was really well done. Like it looks like
really creepy. Yes.
yeah, it looks like spooky, scary skeletons, but worse. Uh, the part where he goes, "You're going down," it got me cracking up because like I'm just like, is that the one thing you're gonna tell your girlfriend? You're going down. And then when he cuts off his own hand and he goes, "Who's laughing now?" And I talked to myself. I went, "Oh, I am. I'm laughing now because you just cut off your own hand, you idiot."
And then everything else starts laughing like
Yeah.
that.
Was the lamp that was laughing? Is that CGI?
No, there's no CGI back then, man.
Right, but like the lamp didn't look like it was there. Does that make any sense?
There's probably a mix of claymation as well. Like
Maybe, yeah. It's just like I get like I wish that like that there was a mouth on the bottom of the lamp that would have been.
yeah, that scene was funny. Yeah.
The girl and the hillbilly couple. First off,
Yes.
I don't mean to discriminate. I think everyone deserves to be with everyone. That girl was way too hot for that hillbilly.
Yeah.
Oh
Definitely.
my god! Like I just kept thinking, dude, you must have a schlong the size of Connecticut because there's no fucking way you're reeling that babe in. Like
Oh
no way.
my god.
Um,
Can we talk about Sam Raimi's obsession with trees? Like,
yeah, I was actually about to get to that. So like the scene where like the hillbilly girlfriend is about to get assaulted by the freaking trees.
like in the first movie, yeah.
Exactly. It's just like, dude, why? Like,
What is up with trees, man?
are you just trying to bring the gag back? Because I didn't like the gag the first time, and it was uncomfortable, and I think Raimi was just having a little too much fun with it. But his choice is his choice. There was one part. If you go and you watch minute 53, second 39, you can see a hand cover up the lens as the girl's being dragged away into the woods, like the cameraman's hand popping up in front of the lens for like a split second.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. So overall, great movie. I can understand why it's known as one of the better sequels of all time.
Yeah.
Bruce Campbell, master of
Yeah.
overextension and
His physical performance is really good. Like I'm really impressed. Like you could tell he's putting like 200% energy in this movie. He's just like beating himself up. He's going to the ground, dragging himself in the mud, and like he's getting all dirty just for the craft, man.
It's like he's like the horror movie version of Jim Carrey, in that he puts in everything he can into every role that he has, and just is 100% himself the whole time. And the funny thing is, Campbell has the ability to both be amazingly charismatic and funny and sarcastic in some movies,
Yeah.
and just completely nuts in others.
Yeah.
Like in the Sam
Especially
Raimi,
in the Spider-Man cameos.
yeah, as Quentin,
Yeah.
like as soon to be Mysterio. Like, dude, you are amazing, and I'm sad that I never got to see you wear the fishbowl, man.
Yeah.
But overall, good movie. I give it an 8 out of 10. There were just some plot holes I would have wished were filled in a little better, but I can't complain.
Yeah. We'll talk about like the ending once I go through my thoughts. But yeah, I really like this movie. Yeah, like you said, it's an improvement over the first one because the first one, they were that was like a shoestring budget. And this one, it wasn't the biggest budget, but they did so much with what they had. Like they pushed everything to its absolute limits. Like, yeah, it was. I really love the blend of horror and comedy, which I think does not get there's not enough horror movies that are just having fun with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like in the last like 10 years, horror's been pretty self-serious, and I think there needs to be more movies like this that can blend both, like serious, but they can have crazy, ridiculous moments like this as well.
I mean, what's a modern example of that, of movies that have tried to be funny and scary?
The only thing that came up to me that that people like hold in high regards, like Get Out, where there's a lot of like funny moments, but like there's also a lot of serious moments.
I don't know.
But it's not like this though. It's not like this. No. But
Yeah, like, when was the last genuinely good scary campy movie? You know,
they don't make them like this anymore.
they don't. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I really love that. But like I said before, Bruce Campbell is a master physical performer. Yeah, he may not be the best actor. He may not be like Al Pacino, but like the dude that put 200% and his energy and his charisma, you feel it, man.
Dude, Al Pacino wishes he was Bruce Campbell. Because, like, I can't imagine anyone having more fun doing his job than Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, you could tell he's having a lot of fun. Yeah, the visual aesthetic of this movie is so unique, and I can understand why this movie has such high praise and like it's considered one of the best sequels of all time. There's nothing that looks like this movie, and it's kind of and it's I love that it was made before the time of CGI, so they literally had to get they had to do everything from like physical stuff to practical effects to claymation. We don't see that stuff anymore. We don't. When was the last time you saw claymation in a horror movie? Like, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but like, yeah, we have technology to make things look better. But I kind of miss that charm of back then, where people were. It was kind of guerrilla style. They were just kind of doing things as they could. Um, what else? But yeah, I think this is a really good movie too. I give it an 8 as well. And yeah, let's talk about that ending. Because there is a third movie. What?
Like,
Sorry.
I want to make a quick comparison. So the budget for the first Evil Dead movie was $350,000 to $400,000,
Okay.
and in box office gain was about $2 million.
Okay.
Two, either 2.7 million or 29.4. So it's a huge margin of error.
Yeah.
And then for Evil Dead 2, they upped the budget to 3.5 million, and it only made 10.9.
Yeah.
So
That's still a success though.
yeah, no, it nearly doubled. It nearly doubled the budget, which I thought was just amazing. So
Yeah.
but yeah, you were gonna say about the ending?
Yeah. No, but going off of what you said about that, like this. A $3 million movie, like nowadays, that would look like really cheap, but back then, this looked, yeah, this has definitely a high production values compared to its first one, especially. And it's just like, yeah, Sam Raimi, he's a horror master, and I understand why. After these two movies, he got a lot of good jobs, and he eventually directed the Spider-Man movies, which has some fair share of like some horror moments, campy moments that are adopted from these movies.
And and like Raimi, I feel bad for him, man. I can't remember the last Sam Raimi movie that came out.
He's mostly a producer now, but I mean, he's directing Doctor Strange too, so I mean, we can't feel that bad for him.
No, wait, he did?
No, he is directing it.
Doctor Strange 2?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting to see. Like, I don't know if I can find a clear definition of what Raimi's style of cinema is, but from what I can tell, he knows how to get the most out of his source material.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean that in the sense that he doesn't strive to keep it honest. He strives to tell a good story, one that hooks the audience in and doesn't try to make you feel like you're watching a movie, but that you're experiencing something. Like with Spider-Man, it was like a cultural phenomenon in that it was a superhero movie that was genuinely good and that was genuinely pulling people in. And with Evil Dead, he set a standard and a legacy with how horror movies should go, and how how jump scares should be structured, and how how to best use the characters that are given to you, especially your scream queens, because in the first movie, the women were kind of like just they were the first to be possessed, and they were the ones that were the most terrifying to go up against.
Yeah.
And in this movie, the primary villain, while it's still an evil spirit, is a woman. It's the mom, who's a witch, and it still invokes so much more fear. Like, I was more afraid of the women than I was of the possessed men, because the possessed men were kind of just like useless lackeys, you know?
Well, you should be afraid of women, yeah.
No, not that you should be afraid of women.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, he knew how to use the most out of all of his characters, and he made his female leads much more of a fearful presence on screen than they would in other typical horror films.
No, I definitely agree with you. That's definitely a good that's definitely a good assessment, to be honest. Yeah, I was not thinking of that, but now that you have, that's definitely makes a lot of sense.
Now, I hate to interrupt, but Mr. Pedro did just call us, so I'm gonna call him back and I'm gonna bring him on real quick.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
You're gonna... First time we're taking a call and chilling with c.bo.
I think this is what's live phone call podcasting. I don't know what it's called. Come on, Pedro, you just called me.
Damn.
Okay, he's not answering.
Damn.
Oh, you reached Pedro.
Whatever. All right. So anyway, but yeah, like Sam Raimi, well done, sir. I wish I could see more of your directorial work. I can't wait for Doctor Strange 2, and your legacy of Spider-Man and Evil Dead will forever hold you, in my opinion, as one of the more underrated filmmakers of our time.
Definitely. So so the way this movie ended, it was a cliffhanger. He got transported back to medieval times. And he's calling?
Yeah. Pedro.
Apologies for not answering the phone. I was on the phone with another member of our family who we love above all things.
Well, you're now on the Chilling with c.bo show, Pedro. So
yeah, first time we're taking a call.
Nice.
First time caller, all time listener?
Yes.
So, Pedro, we were just talking about Evil Dead 2 and about like Sam Raimi's significance with regards to both not just horror but superhero genre with Spider-Man series that he had. Like, do you have any comments on Evil Dead 2 that you want to share with us?
Evil Dead and Evil Dead series is a gateway into Sam Raimi's expertise not only as a director but a content creator. He is responsible for some of the for the birth of some of the new horror flicks that have come out since Evil Dead. And he's also responsible for the trope of, cabin in the woods with friends and haunted woods. And basically, we love him a lot. And to see him when he transitioned from Evil Dead to Spider-Man, it was quite, how do I put this? It was quite the transition. I was thoroughly impressed.
What?
He said he was impressed.
Oh, you were impressed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed. And now, look, even though I don't know many other examples of his projects, I can say with certainty that Sam Raimi is one of the greatest directors of his time.
Okay.
Yeah, we were actually just saying the same thing.
Yeah, good thing.
But
make me feel redundant, guys.
Don't worry. How far are you from home, man?
Well, I had to take surface streets because the highway back home is jammed. So maybe 20 minutes.
All right. So when you get back, hop on. We'll have you on.
Yeah. If we're still on.
I'll go on from your computer, Juan.
All right. I'll see you here then, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Felt like we were a radio show taking in calls.
Rick Ross, who's on line 1. If you get that Frasier reference, I applaud you.
Here are Jack's recorded thoughts on Evil Dead 1 and 2. He did this outside the podcast, but here it goes.
Ooh. Hey, c.bo. I apologize for the rushness of this. I've been running around, and I hope I'm gonna send you the whole bits of it, so you can go through and see if there's stuff that you like, and hopefully there's maybe some things in here that can be salvageable. But I hope this helps. If you want me to re-record things, I can more than likely re-record them tomorrow if you need me to, or I can do it at work. I don't really know, but yeah, just let me know. My mic quality might change, but if you need me to re-record anything, just let me know. I am heading off to work, so I will leave this in your care. It's unedited, raw, so there's a bunch of takes in between that I hope work out. Yeah, so I will send this to you ASAP. Peace. Good evening, boos and ghouls, and welcome to another spooky episode of Chilling with c.bo. Ooh, I am your spooky host, the Count of Jack. Ooh. Yeah, it's your boy. It's Jack, and I know what you're thinking. How can this be Chilling with c.bo if there's no c.bo? Well, c.bo reached out to me to do a little indie piece for a very personal indie film of my own. We're covering that good old film, The Evil Dead, not the one from 2016, the good one from 1981, and its sequel that came out in 1987. Both really good films, and we're going to be talking about them briefly today. So let's kind of just jump right on into that biz. I want to take a trip back. Oops. So let's take a trip back. Not too far back, but far enough back to where most people our age were not around. Around the time of around 1980, 1981. The good old days when Reagan was president. The Rubik's Cube was still new, so no one really truly knew how to solve it, so it was an actual puzzle. Post-it notes just got invented, so taking notes was way easier. John Lennon died. But we're only talking about good things here, like good movies. And there were a lot of good movies that came out in the 1980, 1981 time frame, like Raging Bull and Star Wars. But we're only talking about good things here, And one of the greatest things that was coming out around this time were movies, like the stuff we talk about. Stuff like Star Wars Episode 5 and Raging Bull and everyone's favorite movie of all time, and say it with me, Superman 2. Oof. Little did the public know that in 1981, an up-and-coming director and writer known by the name of Sam Raimi would rock the horror world with one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and eventually one of the greatest horror movie franchises of all time. But that's my hot take. Wham! Anyway, Sam Raimi took his cast and crew of up-and-coming stars such as Bruce Campbell, Ellen Sandweiss, Betsy Baker, Philip A. Gillis, and brought them into the middle of the woods. Words. With his $350,000 budget, Sam Raimi and his cast and crew made their way out into the woods and found a little cabin in Tennessee, which was an actual murder scene. A double murder. They didn't know about it until they started filming. They could have been murdered by a ghost. Maybe. But I think that's what lends to the charm of this movie. Now, one thing that stands out to me about these movies a lot is the makeup and special effects that were used. All of it's practical, and Tom Sullivan, ooh, a beautiful man, a pure artiste, used every nickel and dime of that budget to make sure that all this gore and dismemberment and crazy body horror was done in the most grisly form possible. And it really reflects, and though the budget kept itself from being the top of the line gear at the time, it's still made for really engaging effects, and it surprises you every time. And one of the things that I love so much about this move, the first movie in particular, is that you can feel how hard they tried to make this movie truly horrifying, even with such a tiny budget. And that's why the second movie kind of falls back into that same rhythm, where Sam Raimi and the cast and crew kind of came to the understanding that instead of trying to fight the fact that this was a low budget film, they should embrace it. And so when The Evil Dead made its profit and they were greenlit for The Evil Dead 2, that's when things started to get a little goofier. So after the success of the original Evil Dead, thanks in part to Stephen King leaving a raving review for Sam Raimi, which got everyone to go see it, and with good reason, because The Evil Dead is great. Evil Dead 2 was greenlit in 1986, and with Sam Raimi writing and directing, I feel as though he took a lot of the goofier. He realized that some bits in the first movie were very goofy and very haha funny, and decided to truly embrace that for the second one, because we started to see a lot more use of stop motion animation, and there was more leaning into the psychological stress that the Necronomicon and the forces of evil put on Ash and the other people within the cabin. It's around this time when the movie starts to take on its true form, and around the time where it starts to identify itself as more of a fictional horror. If The Evil Dead 1 was the appetizer, The Evil Dead 2 is the main course. Hot take of the day. You know what? I might have rambled a bunch about The Evil Dead and The Evil Dead 2, and you know what? All things fun and exciting. Words. Ramblings aside, with the amount of cult following that had come from these movies is astounding, to say the least. There's just such a charm in the practicality of the effects, and with the characters themselves. People like Bruce Campbell and Sarah Berry, Dan Hicks, Richard Dahmer. Richard Dahmer is in this, guys. I mean, you got to give him some credit here. These movies are all so goofy and funny, and I know that's not what everyone looks for in a horror movie. They want to get spooked and scared, but there's plenty of spooks and scares in these movies. And the practical effects that they use for the Deadites, and how honestly haunting it is seeing this Ash's friends get possessed during these movies, and him having to cope with the fact that he's got to kill his friends and to kill the demons, and you see him slowly divulge into madness at the end of it all. And then The Evil Dead 2 just kind of does that thing where, spoilers, but he gets sent back in time because of the Necronomicon, and then that's where the Army of Darkness pops into play, and it just becomes a funny action movie. And honestly, you know what? Watch Army of Darkness. Watch all three of these movies. It's that time of year. Kick back, make some popcorn, get some spooky Halloween candy, and just enjoy some quality films. I know I certainly will. But that's enough out of me. Why don't you go listen to the rest of c.bo stuff? He's been doing his 13 nights of Halloween, or is it days? He's been doing his 13 days of Halloween, where he's been diving into a Halloween movie each day for the rest of Halloween. The rest of Halloween. He's been doing a Halloween movie for the rest of October leading up to Halloween. So why don't you give that a listen? Make sure you do all the YouTube things. And I hope you have a very spooky Halloween. Whoa!
So where were we going next?
Yeah, I was just about to talk about how like there's a third movie called Army of Darkness. Yeah, I want to see it, but we're gonna hold off on that. We're gonna see it someday on a future Filling In with c.bo. But yeah, it's interesting how that third movie, he's in medieval times. And remember they were talking about some prophecy about some guy who defeated the darkness?
Yeah.
I guess that was Ash, yeah.
It's like, and then you hear him go, no, 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 no. and it's just, I mean, yeah. What did you expect? I'm like this, like Ash Williams went from being just the lone survivor of a massacre in a cabin to the supposed chosen one to fight an ancient evil, going back in time to the Dark Ages to do so. Like that is just like, you know, Raimi. I get where you're going with. You were setting up for a franchise. I don't know how the third one went, but I'll be waiting in anticipation.
Yeah, how do you even come up with that? Like, you go from being in a cabin or woods to going back in time to the medieval ages. Like,
the same way that you come up with a hot archaeologist coming in out of nowhere to research her father's things, her father's research in the cabin that they just so happen to have lived in. Pure coincidence, man. And also Deus Ex Machina to the fullest.
that it's something.
Do you think like it's gonna? Do you think what's it called? Do you think that that the transition from a cabin in the woods to medieval times will actually work here?
Probably. If the only person that can make it work is probably Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell.
As long as you have those two, I think it's a winning combination.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't wait to see Army of Darkness someday. Yes.
But in the meantime, I think we have to choose our next movie.
Yes, we have to choose our next movie. So I think me, Jack, and Pedro agree that we went a little soft on you this week. This whole month. We saw Sleepy Hollow, which was more of a gothic horror, then gothic horror adventure. Then we saw these two movies, which were more on the campy side, which had their fair share of serious moments, but still campy. But
I still hit my face when I was watching. Yeah.
But now we gotta go all in. We gotta watch a scary movie now. Like a real scary movie.
Yeah.
And let me look at Netflix first.
You'll get almost no objections from me. Just don't put me through Sinister, man. I am begging you.
Not when you say that. I want to watch Sinister more. So
watch it on your own time.
All right, let's look at let's look at Netflix. Oh man, that. All right, so we got Poltergeist, Silence of the Lambs, Unfriended. Let's see what else. The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Let's see. Splice. Yeah, okay. We got Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Is that a scary movie or is that just a really campy thing?
It's campy. It's from the 80s. You are a lucky son of a bitch.
What'd I do?
For some reason, now they only have the second one rather than the first one.
Second what?
Second, Sinister.
hell no. Why, Chris?
So we're not gonna watch the second Sinister. I can tell you that. So I think you got lucky, you son of a bitch. All right. So let's see. I'm gonna look a little on Hulu. Look a little on Hulu. You know, while I'm looking, I'm actually definitely interested in watching the show that of the Evil Dead show, Ash vs. the Evil Dead. That's like the Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi were involved in it as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah, it's like a continuation after Army of Darkness.
Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And it featured Campbell?
Yeah, Campbell's in the main. Yeah, Campbell's in the main cast.
I mean, wow. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hopefully, it's a good thing.
No, apparently it got good reviews, man.
We'll have to say that for when we're doing like a show digest.
Yes. But you know what? Okay. Are you down for okay, let me look at Netflix again. But man, that's disappointing that Sinister is not on there anymore.
Thank God.
Yeah. You wow. But okay. So I guess we'll go for a classic. We'll go for I was thinking let me take a second look and I'll probably just choose that. How do you feel about Poltergeist? Classic 80s horror movie.
Always wanted to see it, never had a chance to do it.
All right, we're going to watch Poltergeist.
Really? Awesome. Okay,
Yes.
that I'm down for.
Yes.
I want to see the part that goes, this house is clean.
Yeah.
All
This
right.
is more of a blockbuster horror movie. So yeah.
I'm down with it.
All right, yeah. So our last movie is the classic Poltergeist for Spoopy-tober.
Spoopy-tober.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
All right. So let me put that in the group chat.
That's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
I hear like, there was a rumor going around that the whole cast, well, most of the cast was...
Two of the little girls have died.
Yeah, at a young age, though?
Yes. It's very tragic, yes.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah. But because apparently the movie was messing with some real life corpses, and they put them in the movie, which is like, that's something.
Yeah, that's messed up, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And I don't think I'm gonna be all done. The day goes on, goes on, goes on, goes on.
All right, so yeah, this is kind of an improv podcast. So what could be our next topic, Juan?
What could be our next topic? Let's talk about some DC stuff, some Marvel and DC stuff, man. Specifically, I want to talk about how the Mandalorian is coming this month.
Yes, the Mandalorian is coming next week, actually.
Yeah, and I'm excited for it. The trailers have just been nonstop. I listened to a friend of mine's podcast up in Syracuse where he breaks down like all this comic book stuff and TV and sci-fi stuff, and he was just so hyped for the Mandalorian that I was just like, wow, I'm now hyped for the Mandalorian. That's actually pretty crazy. And I just wanted to ask, man, what were your thoughts on the first season, and what are you expecting for the second one?
I pretty much loved the first season, how it went back to the aesthetics of the original Star Wars from 1977, mixed in with the modern technology of today. We have a lot of puppets, but apparently with the background and stuff like that, they use a video game engine, and they use this big screen at big 360 screen, and it's insane how they filmed this movie. And apparently it's the future of filmmaking, because recently I read an article that the Rob Pattinson Batman movie is using this technology as well, which sounds amazing because I can't imagine how Gotham's gonna look like with that technology. It's gonna look awesome. So yeah, Mandalorian season 1, pretty much loved it. My only gripes with it that the episodes are way too short, man. Way too short. They're like 30 minutes long, and like it's like, look, I get it. The show is very expensive to make. This is not a cheap show to make, but like still, can you make it like 10 minutes longer, dude? Like, come on.
And different definitions of what long is.
Yeah. Yeah, like some episodes are like less than 30 minutes too. You're like, man, like, so you can just tell how expensive the show was to make it. It's like, wow, like, you know, some episodes came and be past like 30 minutes without including credits. So it's like, damn. But yeah, I really like the show. I like the seeing the Mandalorian's journey from a guy who just, you know, guy doesn't really care about anyone, just about himself, to now he's a babysitter to one of the memeiest things of all time in Baby Yoda.
That's true.
Yeah. Now we're going to get even more memes of Baby Yoda when the season comes out.
I'm just curious because, like, I remember that there were reports that Pedro Pascal was squabbling with the production of the Mandalorian.
Those are rumors. Those were those are unconfirmed rumors.
But like, I don't understand why he was so upset by it though.
I don't know, but I don't think those were true, to be honest. Sure, there's probably tension. Like every production has tension, like little tension, like creative stuff. You know, it's like, you know, it's a push and pull type of thing. You know,
Yeah,
I think the reports got overblown. I feel like.
Especially when you're working with Jon Favreau, who is known for being a quality director and someone who's amazing to work with.
Yeah, like, I haven't heard any complaints of Jon Favreau. Yeah.
So like, it's just so curious, you know, like what would have impeded it. And you know, one thing I am looking forward to the most with the Mandalorian is the continuation of Mando's search for identity.
Yeah.
You know, outside of being a Mandalorian, he was someone's son. He was part of another race.
Yeah.
That was adopted into it. So that self-discovery while trying to help this 50-year-old baby look for his home and his planet, it's going to be really interesting to track. And I am honestly, I can't be any more excited than I am right now, man.
Yeah, and another thing that's got me really excited is that they're going to be introducing more recognizable characters from the Star Wars mythology. Like I hear Boba Fett's going to be in this. Someone from Rebels called Sabine apparently is going to be in it. And the one I'm most excited for, as a Clone Wars fan, Ahsoka is going to be in it, which is just mind blowing. This is going to be the first time.
On that? Is there confirmation on that?
Yes and no. They're keeping it tight, but it's most likely it's like a wink type of thing. It's like hey, watch the season. Maybe people from Clone Wars are going to be in it. Wink. Like.
Who was the rumor that was going to be playing Ahsoka?
They're saying it's Rosario Dawson.
I love Rosario. It's the perfect actress for that role. My God, I can't wait. I can't wait.
I can't wait for that. Ahsoka is my favorite Star Wars character, and
an older Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's an older Ahsoka, and I cannot wait to see that. That's gonna. I'm probably gonna cry a little when I see that, but because Ahsoka is legitimately my favorite Star Wars character. I saw Clone Wars in the beginning of this pandemic. I like binged that all, and I just grew so attached to that character, and I'm feeding for more of her, like. You
know what's sad, that in Star Wars lore, everyone hated Ahsoka when she first started.
Yeah,
and it gradually became a top fan favorite.
Yes.
And I want the same thing to happen for Rey, but I know it's not going to happen.
Well, it's only... Yeah. Well, I don't think people hated Rey as much as Ahsoka at first. But, the thing with Rey... I don't even want to get into that, no. That's a complex issue that... that's just... Yeah.
Also, just leave Daisy Ridley alone, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Don't. Nothing is on the actors. The actors are just, reading the script and being directed to do what they have to do.
Yeah, it's like Hayden Christensen all over again. Like, don't hate a man for playing a part.
Yeah, and I love Hayden Christensen.
Me too, man.
Yeah.
Like, there was this, like, like seeing his interviews for when he's asked how does it feel knowing that you're in this major franchise, or how does it feel that you're now an action figure, he's like, oh god, no, I don't want to. Oh god, like he just looks like so humbly uncomfortable on camera, like, no, I don't want to be famous, but I'll do movies. And I'm just laughing my butt off at it, because like, dude, you knew that you were going to be portraying literally one of the biggest characters in cinema history. Like, come on, stand up to the camera. You got this, you know? And I think, like, that Hayden Christensen's performance as Anakin Skywalker in Revenge of the Sith is severely underrated.
I agree too. I think he's just iconic as Anakin, man.
I think, like, everyone was like saying, oh no, Anakin looked deranged and uncomfortable and his mind looked warped. No, duh, that's who you're supposed to be. True, maybe the pronunciation of certain lines, like, you underestimate my power, could have been delivered a little bit better.
Love that.
God, but like, anyway,
I love it, man.
I'm just saying, like, he did a good job portraying a deranged Anakin Skywalker. You can't, and for the moment that it was, you can't ask for it. You can't ask for it to be done any better.
Yeah, I'm excited. Mandalorian season 2. It's gonna be good. Hopefully.
The other thing I wanted to ask was like, so there was a rumor that, not rumor, a confirmed report that what's the name of that Michael B. Jordan is going to be the producer for the Static Shock movie.
Yes, that. Well, that is exciting. That we are getting more Static Shock in mainstream films. That's gonna be cool. I can't wait to that, because I love the show as a kid, and I want to see it explored more. But I'm just like kind of sick of like DC announcements where it's like, oh, this thing is coming out in a couple years, and it's more than a couple years until any traction gets to it. So it's just more of that. It's just like, oh, yeah, Static Shock movie, it's in development, cool. When the hell is it coming out?
The fact that they got Michael B. Jordan to sign on to the project means that there's actual traction to it.
Yeah, there is, yeah, but we'll see what happens. But it's exciting. It's exciting. I want to see Static. I can't. Michael B. Jordan, he's a talented individual, and he's involved. And if he's involved in the production, that's cool. Can't wait to see it whenever it does come out, with probably in like 2025.
Some people say that Jaden Smith should play Static.
Yeah, his time has passed. He's too old for that now.
Really? Nah, I don't think so.
He has to be. I feel like he has to be someone like high school age. Jaden Smith is kind of old now.
Who do you think is going to be able to play Static Shock?
I don't know, but someone young.
Like Mike from Stranger Things, maybe? You
mean, is his name Mike? That's not, no. But I know you're talking about. The actor's name is, yeah.
I know.
Lucas. His name is Lucas. It's Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas from Stranger Things.
Yes.
Could be, right?
He has the charisma. But again, this movie's coming out like 2025, so it's like, he'll probably look like an adult by then.
Regardless, I think it could still fit, honestly. And like,
we'll see what happens.
Also, I hope they use the little Bow Wow or the little Romeo rap song from the original Static Shock show.
What?
Like, oh my god, I would freak out. Like at the end, you just see Lil Romeo just pop up out of nowhere, just start pumping that beat out. I'm just like, yes.
I don't think he's Lil anymore.
No, he's not. Yeah, I used to think Little Romeo and Little Bow Wow were the same person. Nah,
they definitely had some. There was definitely a rivalry. I can tell you that.
I know. I wonder where they are now. I know, because like I know Bow Wow kind of became very infamous for being a fake clout chaser.
Yeah, but like in the early 2000s, Bow Wow had some hits as like a grown up, and I'm like, man, like I thought he was gonna continue doing that.
Dude was in the Fast and Furious movie even.
Yeah, he was in Tokyo Drift too. So I'm like, man, I thought he was gonna be something like,
Yeah, so like Ludacris,
Yeah. Luda.
But those are some of the announcements I got excited for. I can't be too excited for the Spider-Man announcements anymore because I don't know what to believe.
Like, there's a rumor that there's gonna be a future Spider-Man movie with all 3 actors. Maguire, Garfield, and Holland.
Very quickly, like a Sony exec literally said that's not happening, and
I think it might happen though.
Look, we all want it to happen. Kevin Feige, who is the Marvel Cinematic Universe god, has been essentially doing a great job of constructing it, and he's made the multiverse an official thing. You know, it's official. So if you do not bring Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, and Tom Holland together for an ultimate Spideyverse crossover, you are doing a disservice to Marvel and Spider-Man fans everywhere.
I think it's gonna happen eventually. They're definitely gonna introduce because Jamie Foxx, that's confirmed. Jamie Foxx from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is gonna be in the next Spider-Man movie, which I think is fucking insane. Because that's like, I did not think out of all the actors who have played a villain in the Spider-Man movie, they chose Jamie Foxx to come back, and I'm like, but I think that's pretty cool. I think he's gonna get some redemption because Jamie Foxx is a good actor. I just think you got the short end of the stick with Amazing Spider-Man 2. So I think that's gonna be interesting. I think, but like that already shows you that the multiverse is already in play. Because remember the Far From Home post credits with J.K. Simmons as Jay Jonah. So it's like there's already something going on in the Spideyverse. So yeah, it's gonna happen, Juan. It's gonna happen. We just gotta wait. And when it does happen, we're all gonna cry like little bitches.
I hate you because I know it's true.
Especially Maguire. I would love to see Garfield back because I think Garfield deserved a third movie. Like that, he got the short end of the stick as well. But Maguire, seeing him in a Spider-Man suit again, oh my god, that will make me so emotional.
You think Garfield deserved a third movie?
I think he was a good Spider-Man. I think he was a good, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Garfield the cat. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm talking about Andrew Garfield.
Okay, just making sure. Making sure. I was like, where did Garfield come from? And then I remembered Andrew Garfield, right? Okay, yeah, you're right. He did deserve a third movie, but honestly, where would it have gone?
I don't know. I've read some stuff and heard some stuff about like Sony wanted to make their own Spider-Man universe before they had a partnership with Marvel Studios, and apparently some of those plans were insane. Like they were gonna do like a Madam Web movie that connected everything together, and like, yeah, it was good. Yeah, but they're probably gonna use some of those plans that they were gonna use from back then before they did their partnership and incorporate with the MCU. So it's gonna be cool. I can't wait to see it. How
long do you think?
Yeah.
Like, because Spider-Man's only signed on for the Spider-Man deal is only on for down to 2 movies.
They're gonna expand it. The partnership is too valuable. Having Spider-Man in the most popular franchise right now is just too valuable.
It's just a matter of, settling who makes what, because Disney wants the money, Sony wants the money, and neither one of them is willing to share with the other.
Well, now they are, but back then there was a moment where Tom Holland was not going to be in the MCU anymore. There's like 2 weeks. There's like 2 weeks where that was happening, but then But I think Disney actually bit the bullet a little bit because they know how valuable Spider-Man is, and because Sony has the upper hand with Spider-Man.
I have this vivid memory for when Disney bought Marvel for the first time.
Yeah.
It was a comic strip in the back of, I think, the Post. And it was of Spider-Man in an office with Mickey Mouse. And you see Mickey pulling out a knife. And he goes, "Okay, Mr. Spider-Man, welcome aboard. We're just going to have to do something about that 5th finger because all Disney characters have only like 4 fingers." And I'm just like, is Mickey Mouse about to cut off Spider-Man's finger in this comic book? I'm just like, wow, that's pretty much the epitome of what it took it's going to take for Marvel to like really take off, and it was Disney taking a piece of Marvel.
Did you know? There's a fun fact. So when the Marvel rights were going for sale because Marvel was struggling in the 90s, Sony wanted Spider-Man, and they had the opportunity to buy all of Marvel, but they're like, no, Spider-Man is the only thing that matters from Marvel. So now you're thinking, what if Sony just bought all of Marvel back then at that discounted price when Marvel was struggling compared to now?
I can honestly say they would not have succeeded. And I'll tell you why. Sony, as much credit as I'd like to give them with a lot of the movies that they've made, with I think they own DreamWorks, right?
No, they don't. No.
Oh, never mind. But in any case, Sony, with regards to what it's done in terms of its movies, has been relatively mediocre because
Yeah.
there's just too much studio interference by Sony to ever have anything qualitative really come out of the wet work. Disney knows how to keep creative minds going without interrupting the process and benefiting from the profit in the long run, you know?
I mean, Disney's definitely better at putting their movies in the forefront and selling them to a wide general audience. I will say that.
Yeah, but they're also good at extrapolating plot points and hidden messages for fans and other people.
Yeah, that's true.
Sony's not that subtle.
No, they're not.
They
No.
focus too much on the wrong things. Disney
Yeah.
knows how to tell a good story. Sony's still learning to do that. I think they would have messed up the Iron Man story. I don't think they would have gotten Robert Downey Jr. over fear of his drug past back in the day, and etc.
But yeah, it's just an alternate history type of thing. That we were this close to having a Sony Marvel universe.
And you know what? Like, I think there's one person that we need their opinion of. Hey, Ben, do you think Sony would have done a good job of creating a Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Because the context of this is because Sony back in the 90s, when Marvel was selling their rights to their film rights, Sony only wanted Spider-Man, and they had the chance to buy Marvel as a whole, but they were like, nah, we just want Spider-Man.
I think if actually no, because Disney isn't as resource. Sorry, I mean Sony isn't as resourced as Disney. You know, they have more room for budgets and more influence in casting and directing. Sony, you know, even with the grandeur of the Spider-Man trilogy of Sam Raimi's, they could not have reached the level of universe building that Disney reached when they bought Marvel.
No, it's a fair point because Disney has more resources. Well, at least at the time, yeah.
Yep. We also I wanted to ask him, you personally, Pedro. You know more about Batman stuff than I do. The movie's been pushed back to what, 2021 or 2022?
2022, yes. It's coming out. When's it coming out now? But it's March. Okay.
Like, honestly, is it it's gonna take 2 years to make a Batman movie because of COVID and among.
Well, they're filming until February, and yeah.
So like,
right now they're currently filming. Now
so
they're back filming.
So I guess like the main thing I want to ask both of you Batman aficionados is what are you disappointed with the pushback? Not at all. Not at all.
I'm not disappointed in pushback. It's
expected.
Everything's getting pushed back, man.
Yeah, Pablo, it's expected. For one thing, you know, with this pandemic going on, we can't risk we can't risk more people getting infected. And with a project this much anticipated, this much hype, this has to be done right. So even if it takes another year or two to complete, or even 3 years, we can't take any big risks here.
Yeah, and this is a type of movie that deserves to be seen when theaters are at full capacity. Like, this can't be half-assed. Like,
yeah, this isn't. Hold on, I have this. Oh, I had it. Where did it go? This isn't The Dark Knight Rises where they just rushed the ending.
Well, that's a different thing, though. Well, because The Dark Knight Rises is the end of a trilogy. This is the beginning of a whole new Batman universe.
Oh, no, I know, but like I said, you can't rush these things.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, does it suck that, you know, we have to wait 2 years instead of just 1 year and change? Yeah, but, you know, everything's getting pushed back nowadays. We have to wait for a little bit for more. Like, you know, I'm a little sad, yeah, but it's all good.
And with that being said, like, you know, I think like the one thing that I feel is the one thing that we've talked about with regards to entertainment that I'm looking forward to the most is the one that's coming pretty soon, which is the Mandalorian, and I honestly can't wait till we do like a show review on it. Like we'll all binge watch it and we'll all just break it down. It'll be so much fun.
Well, it's coming out weekly again, so we can't binge watch it. We can only watch one episode per week.
Let's do that then.
All right, let's do it. But yeah, I think we have reached the end of our podcast now. Juan, did you have any thoughts on the NFL this past week? Any hot takes or anything? Any pent up opinions?
The only pent up opinion I have is that I need the Jets to trade Sam Darnold to somewhere where he won't die and his career can flourish, like Indianapolis or San Francisco.
Oh, man.
And then use the number 1 overall pick to draft a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence, because that's where I'm at right now. I am frustrated with this organization. I am depressed by this organization. And football has made me want to vomit whenever I watch the green and white play. All I can say right now is hail to the Chiefs. Hail to the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're going to repeat, especially with their purchase of Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
that's a super team right there, man.
I mean, I actually want Kansas City to win and establish a new dynasty because they deserve it. They went a 50-year drought without a Super Bowl, and that Patrick Mahomes is literally God tier, and he's here to wreak havoc on everyone.
Honestly, if he repeats, the $500 million contract is already worth it in my eyes.
Honestly, yeah. Actually, if he pulls off a 3-peat, that's a legitimate discount for what you're paying him, you know? And he'll want to rework the contract again. And I'm just like, you should rework that contract again because, you know,
you're worth it.
He's worth it. he like if he manages to pull off a 3-peat, he deserves to be a billionaire athlete because that's how much he's worth.
You're a billionaire, trillionaire.
Billionaire athlete. I'm calling it. I want Patrick Mahomes to be the first ever billionaire athlete.
Wow. All right. And on that note, I think we're gonna conclude the Chilling with c.bo podcast this week. Pedro, thank you so much for joining me whenever you could. Thank you for calling in. We were joking that we felt like a real radio show.
Legitimately, like, dude, we should take more phone calls more often. Just like call like a random person, like, hi, hello. Yes, you're on the Chilling with c.bo podcast. Oh.
What's that?
We should take calls more often.
But Juan, yeah, thank you for joining me. And Pedro, thank you for joining when you could, even though you were busy doing stuff.
I was just got back from work.
Yeah. How did that go, man?
Really well. I quite enjoyed it.
Nice. That's amazing. Yeah. This is it. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. There'll be more 13 Nights of Halloween tonight and till Halloween. All right, guys. Peace out, guys.
Peace out.
You never see it coming. You'll be dinner and right. God,